So Dwight Howard finally said something after his wife, Amy Luciani, goes public, accuses him of coke addiction, drags CPS into it, plays recordings, and his response, never done coke in my life. Y'all will believe everything y'all see on the internet. Laugh out loud. That's it. That's the tweet. Now, I'm not here to tell you what to believe, but I am here to lay out everything we know because when you see the full picture, it gets a whole lot more complicated than one tweet. Stick with me because we got receipts. Now, for anyone who needs a quick rundown, and I do mean quick, Dwight Howard, former NBA superstar, 8-time All-Star, NBA champion with the Lakers in 2020, one of the most dominant big men the league has ever seen. His wife, Amy Luciani, real name Amber Howard, I'm sorry. She's a social media personality and rapper, and you probably remember her from Love and Hip Hop. But they went public as a couple in December 2024. 1 month later, they were married. 1 week after that, Dwight was calling her his perfect person on Instagram. Now, that post has since been deleted. Fast forward just a few months, and things started unraveling fast. By July 2025, Amy had already filed for divorce and filed a family violence protective order, accusing him of slipping a drug in her drink and getting physical with her during an argument. Now, Dwight denied everything. The divorce was eventually dismissed and they reconciled. Then, March 2026 hits and Amy went live. So let's talk about what Amy actually said, because this wasn't just vague accusations. She came with specifics. She even went so far as to go on Instagram Live, visibly emotional, and said Dwight has a coke addiction that has been destroying their marriage and their home. And to back it up, she held up a bag of a white powdery substance on live, claiming it belonged to him. It was a giant bag, too.
It's this shit. I try to tell everybody he needs some help. And ain't nobody would have fucking listened because he got the money. I kept saying, whatever, y'all don't understand. I live with him. He needs some help. And this is it. This is what I'm fucking losing my fucking marriage to. This shit right here. I told everybody, y'all gotta help him. He is spiraling. I'm in here with him. I'm trying to love him through it. I was gonna run out the door. I was gonna leave him. But everybody told me, don't leave him.
Now, I know what some of you are thinking. That could be anything. And you're right, because we can't verify what was in that bag. But that's not where the receipts stop. She then said that CPS, Child Protective Services, has shown up to their home 3 times in the last 2 months. And on the last visit, his daughter was removed from the home. Now, she alleged the reason was his substance abuse. Then she dropped this. She said Dwight coached his 12-year-old son to lie to police to cover up his drug use. And she didn't just say it, she played an audio recording. In that recording, Dwight's son can reportedly be heard saying, I know daddy made you lie on me. I mean, she could be heard saying, I'm sorry, I know daddy made you lie on me to the police. That's not a vibe. That's a voice on tape. But it doesn't stop there. She also claimed Dwight tried to frame her, planting items in her room and seizing her phone to flip the narrative. She said she had anticipated that move and had been secretly recording their interactions after overhearing his plans. That's why she had receipts. And then there's this. This wasn't even the first time. Now, back in July 2025, Amy had already filed a family violence order accusing him of spiking her drink with drugs during an argument, allegedly. He denied it. It was dismissed, and yet here we are again with the same pattern. So, after all of that, all of those claims, all of that audio, a bag online, CPS, a child being removed, here's Dwight Howard's full response. Never done coke in my life. Y'all will believe everything y'all see on the internet. Laugh out loud. Now, and then within hours of Amy going public, he filed for divorce, seeking sole use of his Georgia mansion and citing the marriage as, and I'm quoting directly, irretrievably broken with no hope of reconciliation. His lawyers also put out a statement saying Amy has manufactured truths and manipulated reality since the beginning, and that Dwight denies empathetically all claims. So that's his side, flat denial, and a very quick pivot to ending the marriage. But here's where we have to pause and have a real conversation because Dwight Howard has said that's not true. I don't know that person. That never happened before several times, and history has a way of catching up. Here's the thing about Dwight Howard and denials. He has a documented pattern of denying things that later turned out to have a significant truth to them. And I think that context matters when we're deciding how much weight to give that tweet. Let's go back to 2018. A man named Mason Elijah, an author and content creator, went public on social media claiming he had been in a romantic relationship with Dwight Howard. He alleged that during the relationship, Dwight had been cheating on him with transgender women. He also claimed that when he tried to speak out, Dwight, along with his pastor, harassed and threatened him online and even tried to get him to sign a non disclosure agreement. Dwight's response: I don't know this person, never seen him. Any allegation said about me is false. He even went on national television on Fair Game with Christine Lee and said flat out, I'm not gay. I don't know who this person is. He called the lawsuit a money grab. He denied knowing Mason Elijah entirely, completely, on the record. Now, fast forward to 2023. A man named Stephen Harper files a civil lawsuit accusing Dwight of sexual assault at his Georgia home in July 2021. And this time, the legal documents tell a very different story than the blanket denials. In his legal response to that lawsuit, Dwight Howard admitted to exchanging messages with Harper, including sexually explicit content from May through July 2021. He confirmed that Harper came to his home on July 19, 2021. He confirmed that a third person known as Miss Kitty was present, and he confirmed that sexual activity occurred. Let that sink in. In 2019, he said he didn't know Mason Elijah. In 2023, his own court documents confirmed sexual encounters with another man and a third party. He went from I'm not gay, I don't know these people, to yes, we met. Yes, we had a sexual encounter, but it was consensual. That is not a minor detail, okay? That is a complete reversal. And his ex, Royce Reed from Basketball Wives, mother of his eldest child, publicly backed up the pattern. She stated that people who had been close to Howard in the past encountered similar behavior but were consistently dismissed and painted as untrustworthy. He also tried to frame his public response in that era as mind your business, posted on social media telling people his private life was his own, which sounds familiar. So when we hear him say, never done coke in my life, y'all believe everything y'all see on the internet. I think it's fair to ask, is this another Mason Elijah moment? Is this the beginning of another story where the denials slowly unravel? We don't know yet, but what history says, we should at least ask the question. Now, to be fair and thorough, because that's what we do here, TMZ could not independently verify Amy's claim about CPS involvement. There's no independent confirmation of the audio recordings at this point. Dwight's legal team is calling this a pattern of Amy manufacturing truths and manipulating reality. They pointed out that Amy filed a family violence order in July 2025 and then did not pursue it in court. And they say that's because she wouldn't have been able to prove it. It It's also worth noting that in contentious divorces, things get said and evidence gets weaponized on both sides. Now, I'm not dismissing Amy, her receipts are extensive, but I think it's only fair to acknowledge that we are seeing only one side of a very messy situation play out on social media in real time. What is interesting and undeniable is the timing. She goes live with explosive allegations. Within hours, he files for divorce and tries to secure his home. That doesn't read like a man who is unbothered. That reads like a man managing a narrative. Keep in mind, everything is alleged. So here's where we land. Amy Luciani came with a bag on live, audio recordings, CPS reports, and a detailed account of someone trying to frame her. Dwight Howard came with a tweet and a laugh out loud. And while we can't verify everything, what we can verify is that this man has looked in the public face before and denied things that were later proven to be true. Now, that track record matters. At the end of the day, the truth will come out in the court. It always does. But for now, I'll let y'all decide. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe him this time? If you found this video helpful, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and tap that bell so you don't miss the follow-up when more receipts drop. Because something tells me this story is far from over. I'll see y'all in the next one.